Hello and welcome. Yes, we are Geeks Assembled, and we have assembled here today for another movie night. Yes, but this time we're going over the rainbow and we're heading down the yellow brick road. No, we're not going to Hull. No, not going to Hull. We are covering The Wizard of Oz. Yes, the 1939 version. Now let's go over to Beef Dad. Go ahead, Beef Dad.
What can I say about The Wizard of Oz? It's a classic. It's a film for the whole family, not just the children. The performance is absolutely brilliant. Some of them were Oscar winners. Judy Garland won the Oscar for the top juvenile actress of the year. They also won the Oscar for Somewhere Over the Rainbow for the best song of the year. The whole thing is just completely magical. Ray Bolger playing the Scarecrow, brilliant. Jack Hay, well, actually, Ray Bolger was the second choice for the Scarecrow. I'm trying to think who was the first choice. Yeah, it'll come to me. He played Grandpa Clampett in the...
Oh, Beef Dad, that was the Tin Man. That was the first choice. Man.
Yeah. It's me age.
Buddy Epstein.
Yeah, but yes. His problem was with the makeup for the Tin Man, they used aluminium dust to make his face silver, and he breathed in so much of it that one day he couldn't breathe. So he pulled out of the film completely because of illness. He was out for months because of it. Jack Haley, who was a fairly well-known character actor, at that time, went in and took over, and they used a silver makeup on him, aluminium based, but silver. Butler as the Cowardly Lion, he had been massively successful on Broadway as a comedian, and he's just brilliant as the Lion. You cannot think of the Lion in Wizard of Oz without thinking of Butler. He's just absolutely brilliant. Frank Morgan playing, let's see, how many parts? God. He played the Wizard, Professor Marvel, the Gatekeeper, the Guard, and the Taxi Driver. So he did 5 parts. You got five parts out of Frank Morgan for the price of 1 star. Absolutely excellent. Lots of other people had auditioned for it, but some people had turned it down because they said the part wasn't big enough. Billy Burke as Glinda. It was actually nice to see Billy Burke playing a part like this, because normally she had made her name playing scatterbrained socialites in black and white films. She was usually totally scatty and completely in another world. And of course, you cannot think of Wizard of Oz without mentioning Terry. Wonderful little chap. Played Toto. He was a little piece of magic all on his own. And of course, the one person I haven't mentioned yet, Margaret Hamilton, who played the Wicked Witch of the West and Miss Gulch in Kansas. She hadn't been acting for very long when she got the part. And her agent said, they want you for the Wizard of Oz. And she said, oh, what part? And he said, well, the witch. And she said, the witch? He said, well, yes, what else? Which rather put her in her place. But incredible performance from her. Absolutely superb. And the thing, of course, is before she went into acting, she'd been a primary school teacher. Imagine having been taught by the Wicked Witch of the West. It's a really scary thought. The whole thing, as I say, magical. Got a lovely little moral behind it. You know, it doesn't matter where you go or how far, there's no place like home. Yeah, for me, it's got to be 100% solid gold-plated. Well, no, in fact, 100% solid gold. 10 out of 10.
Thank you, Beef Dad. So a solid gold 10 out of 10 from Beef Dad. Now let's go over to our very own Tin Man. Let's go to Connor. Go ahead, Connor.
Well, The Wizard of Oz was one of the very first films I ever saw as a kid, and I have to say that this is a horrible film because I just don't like it at all. I think that the cast itself is... They overdo it a bit. The only good ones are the Margaret Hamilton as the witch and Terry as Toto. Apart from that, I think everyone knows the story, so I won't go into detail much about the story, but it's okay. I suppose it's not too it's too fantastical though. I think it's not really for me. As I said, I don't really like musicals, so I didn't enjoy the musical aspect of it at all. Judy Garland as Dorothy in particular, I think she overdid it a lot. So I think overall I'll give this film a 2 out of 10.
A 2. Thank you, Connor. Thank you for that, Connor. We'll be having words afterwards. Yes, we will. Yes, you wait till I tell the Wicked Witch of the West. Yeah, I'll get her after you with her flying monkeys. Now, let's go over to Susan. Go ahead, Susan.
What the heck? 2 out of 10, Connor?
I have to admit, I thought you were starting off as a joke at first when he said yes. Go ahead,
my
Susan.
goodness. This was like such an instrumental movie in my childhood. I can't believe I just heard that. Whoa, it's me.
We'll have a cry after the cast,
of,
Susan. We'll have a cry after.
I read all the books. It's all right. Yeah, I'll wait to express my feelings later. But I mean, really, it's so good. It's got so much charisma. I mean, like yes, Margaret Hamilton did so good, and Judy Garland was totally sweet, totally cute, totally brilliant, and drew me in. And Glinda, the woman who played Glinda, I mean, amazing, and super cool. And so, like, the other thing that I really, the cast was the three farmhands turned Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion. I mean, like that whole, the two world nature of this film is fun. That's really cool. The other thing that this movie is that I just want to throw out there because nobody's mentioned it, and I don't know if people have the right idea about this movie. This is the first road trip movie that was like that wasn't about losing your life and losing your livelihood like Grapes of Wrath. This was a road trip movie to something good, where the voyage is towards the good. It's an upwards kind of road trip. They get together in this. First of all, the road trip of the house itself takes a road trip out of this world. Then they join a bunch of smaller people and like the mayor and the lollipop league and the what was the guild? Anyway, the two little groups of people that and they sent them out, and they sent them on a road trip, and they sent Dorothy and Toto on a road trip to something, and she kept on picking up people and picking up people and picking up people, and she went through trials and tribulations and hardship, but you know, she achieved an amazing end at the end. I mean, she proved you really can go home again. She proved that even after going someplace that it changes you inside and it changes you outside, and the voyage takes you someplace. And the wizard was trippy and cool, and I didn't know that he played all 5 characters. That's pretty brilliant. I mean, like, that was super cool to find out that he was also the taxi driver. I guess I just didn't have the right goggles on to notice the actor, but that was super fun. And the horse of a different color, I mean, and the lions and tigers and bears on my, I mean, the lines in it are just freaking awesome. I mean, anyway, that's why I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you. Now let's head over to Alex. Let's see what Alex thinks about The Wizard of Oz.
Yes, it's, I remember seeing it in a movie house, a local movie house about 45 minutes away, and I hadn't seen it on the big screen before. Of course, they've shown it on television a lot. Usually don't edit it out. I do have it in my personal collection, but I think it's for different reasons. It starts out in black and white and sepia and those darker colors, and you think you're just watching a Western, and then it turns into Technicolor, and then you're watching a musical, and then you're watching a drama. So I think it's very interesting. I can see why some people criticize it, though. I mean, I've heard comedians criticize it, saying it's a drug trip and all these other weird things they say. But, I mean, I also read some of the books, and I've read some of the Cliff Note versions of the books. And, I mean, they did what they could with what they had. And I think, Judy Garland was, 16, 18, and she's trying to play, a 12-year-old or a 15-year-old? So, in a way, it's like Labyrinth, it's like Star Wars, it's like other films that once you see it, you don't forget it. So it's memorable in that respect. I mean, I'll watch it now once a year. I don't want to watch it all the time. But even the songs are good, and the lines are good, and you've got a lot of personality there. You may not agree with it. I mean, there's some, I don't like the flying monkeys, but I mean, she had to have something evil along with her. I even remember when Mr. Rogers, had her on the show, and he said, "Oh, you don't have the green makeup," and she goes, "No, that's just for the movie," so, but it is memorable, and that's part of the reason why I think we're talking about it, is the books are memorable, the movie is memorable, even the sequel is memorable for the wrong reasons, but, the characters, the music, the Technicolor, I mean, it could have been 100 times worse, and it wasn't. And I haven't met even 20 people that don't know what the movie is. So, it must be good, or at least memorable, in that respect. As far as the ending, the ending, I wish they had changed it a little bit. But it was 1939, 1940. So for that time period, I think they were trying to cover, the whole audience. So, I mean, they've even, and they've tried countless other versions and they don't work. So, it's a memorable movie. There's going to be parts of it that you love. There's going to be parts that you don't like. There's, so I'd say overall, for the overall effect of the movie, I'd give it a 8.5. No, it's not perfect. No, I think they should have changed some of the ending, and I might, if I had directed it, I might have done it a different way. But hey, it is one of the classic movies, so you can either watch it or not watch it, or read the books, or whichever. Maybe there's a radio version of it. I don't remember any right now, but I'm sure there is. So I'd say it's a good movie. I'd say that I'm definitely glad that I saw it. I have read some of the books as well. And the books are much darker, and there's much more magic, and there's many characters. So they had to edit it down for the movie. All right.
Thank you, Alex. An 8.5. Now let's head over to Lee. Let's see what Lee has to say.
This film is most probably one of the first films I saw when I was a young little lad. I watch it every time it's on every year. They put it on at Christmas or they put it on at Easter, whatever time they put it on, I sit and watch it. It's an all-time classic in my book. I can't fault any of the acting. It's just awesome. For me, I've got to say, it's a guilty pleasure of mine, this film. It's, from the beginning, as it's been mentioned, black and white. And in that black and white section, in 1939, the effect, the twister effect, that for that time period, that was just awesome, them effects. The effects where things are flying by the window while the house is spinning round, men in a rowing boat and stuff like that, the cow. Oh, yes, and the little lady was in the yeah, but it's awesome. And as soon as boom, bang, they're in Oz, it's just technicolor. The colour in this film is just out of this world. It's over the rainbow, shall we say. But to me, it's the acting, for me, what does all this. Judy Garland is so perfect in the role. And the other three actors, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, the Lion, they just work so well off each other. Bert Lahr, who played the Lion, apparently they had to stop shooting every time he was doing his bit because he was known to ad-lib all the time. And it used to corpse Judy Garland up. She couldn't carry on with the filming, apparently. So most of his lines in this film are a bit most ad-libbed. So put them up. Put them up. And also, as well, as you're watching this film, as you go along, the Scarecrow wants a brain, the Tin Man wants a heart, and the Lion wants courage. You start to realise they've already got that. Because the Scarecrow thought of the plan to get the trees to throw the apples at them. And the Tin Man's got a heart because he's showing he cares for Dorothy. The Lion does have courage because he's there in the fight of it all, the thick of it all. But so they don't realise they've got all that. But it's just awesome the way it carries on. And as I said, as it's been mentioned, Terry who played Toto, I've got to break it to you. She was a girl. He was a girl. Yes, Terry was a girl. So. And Terry the dog, later renamed Toto, Terry the dog was paid more than any of the Munchkin actors were paid. So, the dog was a well-famous animal actor in the day. She died in 1945. But, she made, in her little short life, made 16 movies. And Wizard of Oz was the most well-known of them. But nice little trivia there for you about Terry the dog. It is quite scary. The scenes with Margaret Hamilton as the witch does come across, if you're watching it as a small child, it is very scary. And I think that's why it's been so successful. Because you've got the fantasy, you've got Dorothy, and you've got happy-go-lucky sing-song segments, but then you've got this evil old hag who's just every time she's on the screen just steals the screen off Judy Garland. And I don't know if I'm wrong. I might be wrong here, but this portrayal of a witch in movies, 1939. I think this is the first time a witch was portrayed like this in a movie. Being taken from the influence of the Brothers Grimm fairy tales and stuff like that. Because as far as I know, I don't think witches were portrayed like that with broomsticks and pointy hats and all that before the Wizard of Oz movie. After that, it became stereotypical for movies to have witches in looking like that. So we've got to thank Margaret Hamilton's portrayal, I suppose. So and the music, it's also the songs. Just as soon as the tune starts, you know it. You know, If I Only Had a Brain, and Follow the Yellow Brick Road, and of course Over the Rainbow. But for me, it's a childhood film, and it always will be. It was there in my heart. It's a 10 out of 10.
A 10, thank you, Lee. Well, now to me. I have to say, Lee took nearly everything I was about to say. He really did. I mean, like Lee said, the Tin Man, the Lion, the Scarecrow, they already had it. They were going through the story, but they already had the brain, they already had the heart, they already had the courage. And the wizard was just a con man. That's all he was. He wasn't a wizard with any power. He just spoke well, and he used that computer thing to make himself look scary to the Emerald City, you know. But they already had the courage. They already had what they were looking for all along. And like Lee said again, how it opens up, the black and white beginning, I just think is so brilliant. Like Lee said, the effects are brilliant in that, how the tornado bits, you know, where the things are flying around, and you can just imagine today that would just be done so over the top. That would just be done so over the top, but it was done perfectly. I mean, when Dorothy goes to open the door of the house, and the door of the house blows off, and the window flies open, and you know, when the house is spinning around and the bed's like moving, and there's things going past the window, it's just great. But when it goes into the Land of Oz, and it goes from black and white into color, I think that's such a magical moment. I think just when it transitions from this black, it's like black and white, and it's not quite black and white, but it's kind of you know, and then it goes into color. It's just magical. And Julie Garden's great. They're all great. The songs are brilliant. They're all memorable. You know, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Who doesn't know Somewhere Over the Rainbow? You know, it makes me want to sing it. I sing it when I watch this film. I sing along with this film. You know, I admit it. I sing along with this film. I do. You know, we're off to see The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. You know, and this is, you know, here in the UK, we do this every year as a panto, don't we? You know, people in the UK, we do this here every year as a panto for Christmas. I mean, I just love The Wizard of Oz. I really do. And I'm going to give it has to be a 10. And the witch is great. I like the Wicked Witch of the West. She's just brilliant. But I didn't know that could be, like Lee said, the first time a witch was portrayed like that. If that's the case, then wow, this film really, really did leave an impact, a bigger impact than I thought. Because if she's now how witches turned out, and that's just great. Yeah, so I'm going to give it a 10. It's definitely a 10. In fact, I'm going to break the rules. I'm going to give it 1 million. I'm going to give it 1 million. I'm giving it 1 million. Connor, put it on the screen. Oh no, Craig, actually. Put it on the screen, Craig. 1 million, yeah? So I'm going to throw the floor open to whoever wants to speak.
Right, I've got some news for you about The Witch. Originally, the part of The Witch was offered to Gail Sondergaard, who did some screen tests for it. And they were basing it on the glamorous witch, the wicked stepmother in Snow White, who looked glamorous and wonderful, but evil inside. And that's how they were planning to do it. That's how they tried the makeup with Gail Sondergaard. The director finally turned around and said, no, this is a witch. She's supposed to be evil. She's got to look evil. So they tried the evil makeup on Gail Sondergaard, who didn't like it. Decided that she wasn't interested, she wasn't going to do the film, and thank God they got Margaret Hamilton. And the tornado, I know how they did the tornado and the house. If you're interested.
Yes.
The tornado itself was done on the set. The actual tornado itself that kept moving like that was actually a tube of muslin with wire inside it, which rotated, and as it rotated, it moved, and it moved along a channel, and in the channel they had Fuller's Earth, and they had air pumps blowing the Fuller's Earth up in the air, so it looked as though that was being done. Now, what they did with the farmhouse, when you see the farmhouse, they had a model of the farmhouse. They did the floor like sky with clouds, plus obviously smoke effects for the clouds. They dropped it, filmed it in slow motion dropping, and then for the landing of the house in Oz, they just reversed it.
Whoa.
And that's how that was done. It's very, very clever work by the special effects guy, considering it was 1939. It's brilliantly done, just brilliantly done. Obviously, the bits with live actors in it was all done with wind machines.
Like blowing in the bike and everything.
But the tornado itself was a muslin tube.
That's amazing. That's amazing for the time it was made. They had that idea how to create that. That is amazing.
You have to be clever to come up with it, don't you? You know.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got a little bit of trivia here. I mean, you may or may not know, but thank God Carol Ann's not in the cast today. The costume what Bert wore as the lion was a real lion skin.
Wow.
It's apparently it was made of a real lion skin. We've added manes just around the head area and stuff like that. Now you wouldn't get that today. No way. Just shows you the attitude back then was totally different.
Yeah, it would have been very, very difficult to make.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult to make. But this is one of the reasons why he got so hot in it. I mean, all three of them, the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and the Lion, spent most of the time complaining about the costume and the makeup and how heavy it was. Oh, another thing about I mentioned the aluminium makeup that they used on on the Tin Man. But Margaret Hamilton's makeup was copper based.
Yeah.
It was copper based. And you remember the moment where she appears in Munchkin, in the Munchkin land? Yeah. That was done through a trap door. They did several takes on that. And on one of those takes, she didn't move down quickly enough. That burst of fire came up, and they had to rush her to take off all the makeup because the copper reacted with the heat and was burning her face and her hands. And fortunately, they got it off of her quickly enough not to leave any massive burns or scars.
Yeah. Yeah, because she mentioned that in Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, when she was in the episode, she mentioned that, you know, even though she had fun making the movie and meeting the people and being friends with them, she did mention, you know, also, you know, that there was, I think she mentioned that as well as one other incident that happened, not in detail, but, you know, she mentioned it as she was talking to Mr. Rogers, the host of the show. You know, that, you know, but I mean, she showed other pictures, like when she was in the full makeup and, you know, all that. I mean, unfortunately, I don't have the video here word for word, but I mean, basically, just like with the Incredible Hulk, he was going around talking to Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno, and they talked about, the makeup and other tricks they had to do for the camera and assure the kids that it wasn't real. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
That accident, what Beef Dad just mentioned, where she goes down, she was told to make a claim against the film company because of that. But she says, I'm not stupid. She says, I'm just going to leave it be because I want to work. Because if I make a claim against the film company, I will never work again.
Right.
So back in those days, the film studios had so much power.
Right.
They could make or break an actor.
Right.
I mean, one of the wonderful stories you get to hear is the chaos that the Munchkins used to cause.
Oh yes, I've heard these stories.
Right. And most of them actually come from Judy Garland, who used to tell the most incredible stories about the Munchkins. And her daughters have both said the stories aren't true. Mum did them for comic effect. Yeah, okay, you had one or two of the Munchkins who would drink, but they wouldn't drink on set, so they never turned up drunk for work. There was a couple of little troublemakers amongst them, but that never happened on set. There was never any problems on set with them. They were all very well drilled and very intent on what they were doing, because it was, with a lot of them, it was the only chance they'd ever get to be in a film.
I've got one more little Toto story if you want. During one of the scenes where one of the the witches' guards are marching and stuff like that, one of the guards stood on poor little dog's leg and broke it. But Judy Garland took the dog home to her ranch to recuperate. She got such a connection with the dog, she wanted to adopt or buy it off the owner, but the owner would not let her do it. I know, a little dog like that, and one of those soldiers stood on its leg.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big scenes that was taken out was what's it called? So I've got to check through the score here.
Yeah, because wasn't there 2 songs that were taken out?
Yeah, there was the what was it? Well, Evening Star was taken out, which was it's a lovely song, and that's with Gloria, who is one of the inhabitants of Oz. But there's the is it the Jumblies? No, not Jumblies. It was based on the name of a dance. Oh Lord! Well, talk amongst yourselves while I find it.
So, did you have a good day, Lee?
Yeah, it's a bit hot. I'm just having a drink now.
Well, I do actually have to say something. Before Alid's heart packs in, that was just a joke. It wasn't.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I think it's a flawless film. I'm not going to go into much detail because it is quite flawless. It would be one things out.
Oh, so you were just playing good critic, bad critic, though.
I was just tricking Alid because he deserves it.
Oh my God. We're still recording, guys.
So what score is it going to get now, Connor? So Craig knows.
It gets an 8 out of 10 from me.
Okay.
And can I just say something? I was in on it, and you.
He was in on it. He knew.
No, I sent the Wicked Witch round, actually. I sent the Wicked Witch to sort him out. That's why you can only see his head now. The rest of his body is somewhere else in another location.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the one that was taken out was the Jitterbug. And basically, the witch controls these insect-like creatures that bit the 4 of them. And they had to dance. Basically, a dance for the drop job. But yeah, they had to do they did Jitterbug.
Mm. So it's also like Labyrinth too, with all the weird little creatures that she had to interact with and all that.
Well, yeah, well, Labyrinth, really, if without Wizard of Oz, you wouldn't have had a Labyrinth, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's a big influence on that movie.
I mean, to be honest, somehow when I see these movies, it reminds me a little bit of Star Wars and the effects. It reminds me of Labyrinth a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I'm saying that they have elements that are similar. But of course, they're not, they are made in different times and stuff. But again, that's...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Susan. Go ahead.
Labyrinth was yet another of the modern-ish road trip movies. I mean, these things that are voyage, these are road trip movies, and so I'm sorry. Go on.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I mean, I don't know if I'd say road trip as much as I'd say like a voyage of discovery or whatever. But whether we're saying the same thing in a different way, that remains to be seen. But you know what I mean? But I mean, it could be, a voyage. You're going on a voyage. You're going on a quest, and this is what you discover, and this is what you learn. So it could be the same thing, just phrased a different way. That's all.
I've just had a thought. Would it have been wonderful, maybe a few years down the line, they did a sequel back then, where she took a trip down the red brick road?
Oh, yeah.
Just to see out where that led to.
Is that a fantasy of yours, Lee?
No, because you've got the yellow brick road.
Yeah.
Then what about the blue brick road and the green brick road? I mean, it's on forever.
It could be made into a horror film. Red brick road, it could be covered in blood. So it's a horror film.
No, there was only two roads. It was the yellow and the red.
Right. But here's the thing: the Return to Oz was the sequel with that independent actress, but most people didn't like that movie. That came out in 1986, and they did The Wiz in 1978, which was the soul version or whatever you want to call it, with Michael Jackson and Diana Ross. Yep. Some people like that. Most people didn't. And those had different songs, and those were more modern. I did like Nobody Bring Me No Bad News and, Be a Lion and all that, but that was a different era. It's still The Wizard of Oz, but it was a different era and different point of view. Then they had another 3 versions they did, which most people don't like or remember at all. So, I mean, you could redo it again, but then I'm almost done, Lee. But then the other thing too is the books, and the books are much darker, and there's a lot more of them as well. What is there, like 12, 14, something like that? There's a lot of books that the original guy wrote. That it's a lot darker. Go ahead, Lee.
I'm just saying this 1939 Wizard of Oz is not the original.
Right.
There is a silent movie version. Yeah. And I think Oliver Hardy appeared in one of the silent versions of it as
the second one. L.Frank himself directed the first one.
Yeah.
The silent one. Yeah. Alex, you said that you haven't seen another alternative way of seeing it. There is a stage show. Oh. No. I'm sorry if I was misunderstood. I did see The Wizard. I saw the Wiz, the movie version in '78. I also saw Stephanie Mills came to Boston to do the play version. And that actually was better than the 1978 movie. So there was a stage show, but the problem is, I don't know if you guys would agree that it's the same, or if they were just trying to soul it up, you know what I mean? To appeal to the black audience, No, Alex, I'm not talking about The Wiz. I'm talking about The Wizard of Oz, the original. There is a stage show of it.
Oh, the original one? Okay, I apologize.
There is a stage show of it. I know, I've done it.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't acquainted.
Yeah.
So, there's no video of the original stage show or the original version of the stage. There's no video.
No, it wouldn't be. They didn't have videos in 1939.
Oh, okay. So there was no way of doing it. They didn't film it or anything.
No, nobody ever filmed a stage show that I know.
Oh well, that's too bad. I would have liked to have seen that.
Yeah, because as I say, it's got the jitterbugs in it. It's got.
So is it the more complete? Is it the more complete film version?
It's the complete version with all the bits that were cut out the film.
Oh, all right. Oh, that's too bad. I would have liked to have seen that. So is it's in book form? I take it.
What?
To buy it, is there a book form or is it out of print?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's the score.
Oh, that's the score. Okay.
That's the score. Yeah, that's the score from when I did it about in 1900 and Frozen to Death.
So what part did you play in it?
Mayor of Munchkinland.
Oh wow, nice.
And I doubled up because I also played the witch's butler.
Oh, the witch's butler.
Yeah, there is in the original. There's a tea party with the Wicked Witch of the West and 2 other visiting witches.
Right.
Yeah, which is it's quite funny actually because they sit and bitch at each other. It's wonderful.
Well, I mean, doesn't that sort of remind one of Alice in Wonderland too, though? I mean, a little bit.
Well, a lot of things influenced a lot of other things. So,
So, because I'm trying to remember what I read from the book because I wanted to read the book to see how many parts they added or took away. And I mean, I have if it was about $1 or whatever, I might buy them just to have them in the library. I wasn't a huge fan of the books, but it was different from the movie and the plays, that's for sure. And the different versions of the movie.
Since the 1970s, so I'm way out of the date for remembering anything from the books.
Yeah.
Well, you know what we're going to have to do? We're going to have to start doing a bookcast.
Bookcast.
Harry, where are you, Harry?
Oh God.
No. No? Oh. Well, I mean, I imagine they would have to be edited quite a bit. I mean, there'd probably have to be an outline, definitely, for that. Make sure it didn't go on too long.
Anyway, does anybody else have anything to add for The Wizard of Oz?
Yes, I'm sorry for tricking you, Allard.
Well, me and you having words after this cast, we are having very, very strong words.
I'm not that sorry, actually.
No, I know you're not. We're going to have strong words. Viewers, dear viewers, you might not see Connor again, so just
Hold on a
send message.
You never can see Connor. He's never got his lights on.
I thought you were going to say we don't have any viewers. Does anybody else have anything to add about this film?
Yes, it's just a fantastical journey from beginning to end.
Yes, and on and on that note, we're going to finish it, Connor. No.
It's a bit like this group, actually. It's magical. It's weird. It's wonderful. Yeah.
And we're sometimes out there.
We're definitely over the rainbow and far, far away, aren't we?
And we do have a lot of midgets in the group as well, so I suppose we...
Well, let's not go there. Anyway, I'd like to thank everybody here for joining me. I'd like to thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Tell us what you think about The Wizard of Oz. And look after yourself. Take care. And remember, there's no place like home.